Thank you very much, Bill. I am honored to be here today. A heartfelt thank you also goes to the organizers of this important event today. Thank you to my cops for working so diligently to allow all of us to gather here at this event, the 16th Annual Law Enforcement Candlelight Memorial. Today we gather to honor men and women of law enforcement who lost their lives in 2008. We honor our brothers and sisters that woke all hours of the day and night without hesitation or reservation. Knowing the dangers of their occupation, they laced up their shoes, their sneakers, their boots. They gave their wives, their husbands, their loved ones a hug and a kiss and went off to work. Work. Day in and day out, they went to work. For one sole reason, to keep their cities, their communities, their neighborhoods safe. It is for these brothers and sisters that we gather here today to honor their commitment and their dedication. And we give gratitude for their commitment to this great profession that is law enforcement. The state of Michigan lost 2 officers last year in the line of duty. Oak Park police officer Mason Sombrowski was shot and killed while conducting an investigation following a traffic stop. We gathered today for the family of Mason. His wife Sarah is here with her child Madeline. I think Madeline may have taken a rest. She was already bored with my speech before it started, but I don't take offense with that. Mrs. Sombrowski, we honor Mason today not because of how he died, but because how he lived. He was a great man that touched the lives of many people here, and we thank you for being here today with all of us. We also honor another great law enforcement professional, a federal law enforcement professional, Paul Source, FBI agent in Detroit who was killed in a traffic accident. His wife Joy is here with their children, and we certainly also appreciate the head FBI law enforcement official for the state of Michigan, Andy Arena, also being here with us today. Sarah Jones, an Indiana deputy sheriff who was killed in a traffic accident last fall. Sarah was originally from Coldwater, Michigan, and her husband Chris is here with their parents. Irvin Julius Romans II, an Oakland, California officer, was killed in March, one of 4 officers that were slain by one suspect. Sergeant Romans is originally from Ironwood, Michigan. We gather here today for the family of these officers as well that have the roots here in this great state of Michigan. Data shows that the year 2008 was one of the safest years for U.S. law enforcement officers in decades. In a report from the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund, in conjunction with concerns of police survivors, the number of officers killed in the line of duty fell sharply in 2008 when compared to 2007. And officers killed by gunfire reached a 50-year low. 140 officers died in the line of duty last year, a 23% drop from 2007. That represents one of the lowest years of officer fatalities since the mid-1960s. And yet, although encouraging, the number is 140 too many. 1 is too many. It is difficult to understand the reason one chooses to enter the profession of law enforcement. Many times I've heard officers try and explain their reasons, try and justify their decision for entering such a dangerous occupation, and the overwhelming reality is you choose law enforcement to be a role model for kids. You choose law enforcement to help that elderly person from becoming a victim of a crime. You choose law enforcement to stop the spreading of drugs in our communities. And you choose law enforcement to ensure our citizens may enjoy the freedom that this great country provides us. Overwhelmingly, you choose law enforcement for one simple reason: to make cities, communities, and neighborhoods safe. And for that, we owe a great deal of gratitude to each and every fallen officer throughout history, as well as those patrolling our communities today. Although the decrease in the number of fallen officers last year is encouraging, we must vow to continue to find ways of making our occupation safer for every officer and not be satisfied until the number is zero. We must reevaluate our programs, our equipment and training, and make improvements where it's evident that improvements need to be made. Accidental deaths of officers decreased in 2008. However, it remains the cause of over 60% of all officer-related deaths. 71 of the 86 accidental deaths in 2008 are due to traffic-related incidents. We must find ways to better equip our officers and our nation's streets, roadways, and highways. Seek better methods of policing our roadways by use of technology or by altering our policies and practices. Of course, technology and programs cost money, and as we all know, times are tough right now, and every organization feels the effects of a gloomy economy. But we must not sacrifice safety for dollars. We must be creative and continue to find ways to make this profession safer for each and every officer out there that are committed to making our communities safe. We owe this to Mason and Paul and each and every officer that's been killed in the line of duty in the history of law enforcement. I will close now by expressing my gratitude on behalf of Lansing Mayor Virg Monero and the entire city of Lansing to all the officers that came today from agencies throughout the state to pay respect to our fallen brothers and sisters. I'd like to also say thank you to my cops again for organizing this event, and say thank you for allowing me to address you here today. And lastly, to each and every officer in this great country of ours, I say thank you for lacing them up day in and day out. Peace and God bless. Thank you.